And we are back. Welcome back to the FA Cup predictions on the SO99 channel. Today is the big day. We have got 19 FA Cup third round ties for you. So it's going to be a very quick fire video for you today as we go through all of those fixtures. But what I have done for you guys is as we go to the predictions page is you will see that I've actually included the division that all of these clubs are in to help you guys make your own predictions at home. So if that is not worth a like on this video, I don't really know what is. And if you are new around here and you haven't seen any of my predictions before, please do consider subscribing to the channel. The way this is going to work today is we're just going to do all of the predictions for today's FA Cup fixtures. Then in tomorrow morning's video, we will then do all of the remaining fixtures from both Sunday and Monday before we then move on to the EFL Cup semi-finals at the start of next week. Let's just get straight into it because like I say, we've got 19 games to go through today. Are there going to be any big cup upsets in the FA Cup this weekend after what's, to be honest, has been quite a boring first couple of days? Like, there's not been a lot of goals that I really thought there would be. But speaking of upsets, we move straight to the very first game of the day between AFC Wimbledon and Ipswich Town. And I'm going to go for my first upset of the weekend right here, right now. I'm actually going to go for a 2-0 win to Wimbledon of League Two, beating Championship Ipswich. Now, the reason why that would be such a big upset is because Ipswich have been really good this season. They're one of the sides that are in the actual promotion race in the Championship at the moment. However, they have not won a game in their last 5, and they haven't even scored in 3 of those 5. Whereas Wimbledon in League Two are on a little bit of a turnaround at the moment. They're playing some really good stuff. And I think with Ipswich's priority being that promotion race, I can see them making a lot of changes today. And I think Wimbledon will have the opportunity to capitalise. So I am starting off today's predictions with a 2-0 upset to Wimbledon of League Two, beating Championship Ipswich. There are a whole host of games taking place in the early kickoffs this weekend, so we're going to wrap through the rest of them now, starting off with Coventry of the Championship against Oxford of League One. I can see this being relatively close, but at the end of the day, I think in these sort of instances, especially with the higher division sides at home, I'm very, very cautious as to not go for those sides to win. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Coventry. I think it could end up being close, like I say, but I would expect Coventry to get the win. The lowest ranked side currently in the FA Cup is Maidstone United of the National League South. They will be taking on League One Stevenage today. And as much, again, as I would love to give a second-tier conference side a win over a League One opposition to keep their dreams alive, I just don't see it happening. I think it's too big a step. But you just don't know with the FA Cup. There's always going to be those big upsets. But for me, Stevenage, too strong for Maidstone. 3-0 to Stevenage is what I am going to go for there. On to the first all-championship clash of the day, and it is Millwall taking on Leicester. Two sides that obviously know each other this season. Leicester, the absolute runaway leaders in the championship right now. Millwall, stuttering, it has to be said, in their form. They've had a couple of wins recently, but overall their form just hasn't been very good. Leicester won the fixture in the championship earlier this season. I'm backing Leicester to go for it again, and I'm going to go for a 3-2 win for Leicester, which was actually the exact same scoreline when these two sides met earlier on in the season. But quite frankly, both sides are scoring a lot of goals at the moment, so why not? On to what is, without any shadow of a doubt, the biggest fixture of the weekend. I don't care what anyone says about Arsenal-Liverpool tomorrow. Sunderland against Newcastle today is the biggest fixture in the FA Cup third round. It is the last of the early kickoffs today. It is the Wear Tyne derby, and I think it's must-win for Newcastle. I spoke about it recently about Eddie Howe, and you know, Newcastle have lost 7 of their last 8 games. 7 of their last 8. Sunderland are playing some very good football at the moment, and I really, really, really want to give Sunderland the win. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Newcastle are actually going to lose. However, I also don't think Newcastle are going to win. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, which will see a replay at St James's Park in the coming weeks. But I think it's going to be a very entertaining game. I can't wait to watch this one. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. On to the first of the 3 o'clock kickoffs then. We have Blackburn of the Championship taking on Cambridge of League One. I don't think I really need to say too much about this one. Both sides aren't doing particularly great at the moment in their respective leagues. But overall, I would expect Blackburn to come out on top. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for them. Next up, it is League 2 Gillingham taking on Premier League, or should I say bottom of the Premier League, Sheffield United. Again, I'd love to see a big cup upset with a League 2 side beating a Premier League side, but I just don't see it happening. Yes, Sheffield are going to have their priorities focused firmly on staying in the Premier League, but even if they change their whole team, they should still be beating a League 2 side like Gillingham, so I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Sheffield United. The next all-championship clash sees Hull taking on Birmingham City. Birmingham, who have just sacked Wayne Rooney as their manager. Unfortunate for him, but he really didn't do anything in charge of them. When these sides met earlier in the Championship, it was Hull that came out on top. It was also Hull that came out on top in the Championship last season as well. So with all of that said, I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Hull today. Next up, we've got League 2, Newport County taking on National League Eastleigh. Both sides sitting about mid-table in their respective divisions at the moment. And again, potential for an upset in this one. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one. So, like I say, I wouldn't call this a full upset, but I definitely can see Eastleigh getting something from this game. When you look at the form between, well, not between the two sides, if you look at the respective form of these two sides, Eastleigh are definitely the side with more to play for at the moment when it comes to this fixture. And I can just see them sneaking it. There's been some massive games for them recently. They've had a 3-3 draw, a 5-3 win. Newport as well on the receiving end of some very high scorelines recently. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. That's sort of like my second big shock of the day. Next up, it is Norwich City taking on Bristol Rovers. Again, I think given the way these two sides have been playing recently, I can see it being close, but I'd expect the Championship side to come out on top, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for them. Similarly with Plymouth and Sutton United, Plymouth are relatively near the relegation zone in the Championship, but I think they're safe enough to still field a strong side today against a Sutton United side who, again, are a little bit mixed at the moment. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Plymouth. I seem to remember when I looked at the form guide, Sutton don't tend to score a lot of goals. Next up, it is Championship QPR against Premier League Bournemouth. QPR are right in the thick of things at the bottom of the Championship, whereas Bournemouth are beautifully mid-table in the Premier League. And I think with that said, QPR are the side that need to make changes. Bournemouth are the side that don't need to make changes. And even away at QPR, I think Bournemouth will end up taking this on relatively comfortably. I'm going to go for 3-0 to them. No real surprises about what I'm going to go for when it comes to Southampton and Walsall. Southampton's been playing some really good stuff in the Championship at the moment. Walsall, I just think it's too difficult a game for them. I'm going to go for 4-1 to Southampton. The next one where I can see some drama happening, it is Stoke against Brighton. Can Brighton do it on a cold, rainy day in Stoke? I don't think they will. I think Brighton will make changes. I think their squad is still a little bit stretched at the moment. De Zerbi will want to make some changes. Stoke are in a position in the Championship where they probably can still play their strongest side today. And I think, like I say, with the conditions the way they are, the way Brighton like to play, they're not going to want to go and play at Stoke today. And I'm going to go for that 2-1 win to Stoke City. The final 3 o'clock game, and Dave, don't look at me like that. We're going to have to talk about Watford. It is Watford taking on Chesterfield of the National League. However, Chesterfield are absolutely flying in the National League. They are something like 8 points clear with 2 games in hand. So they can absolutely give it everything in this game against Watford today. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be entertaining. However, I am going to go for a 3-2 win to Watford. Sorry, Dave. I'm sure I'm going to give Luton the win tomorrow, but I'm going to have to go for Watford in this one. I think I say definitely potential for an upset here, but I just think Watford will just about edge it. On to the evening games, and we start off with Chelsea taking on...
Tom.
I couldn't resist the temptation to put that clip in there, but it is Chelsea against Preston North End. Preston are just not doing that well in the Championship. They're doing okay. They don't tend to score a lot of goals. Chelsea are in need of a win. I think they may make some changes, but I don't think it's going to affect the result too much. I'm going to go for a comfortable 2-0 win for Chelsea. I think a lot of people will see this next fixture as potential for an upset. It's Middlesbrough taking on Aston Villa. However, Villa are playing such good football at the moment. And to be quite honest with you, Middlesbrough are not playing such great football at the moment. They've sort of gone on this arc curve at the moment whereby they started the season horrendously, then they went on this really good run, and now they're on this really bad run again at the moment, Middlesbrough. So I think Unai Emery will definitely want to win this. Not that he wouldn't ever want to win this, but I think he'll be able to field a strong enough side whereby he can make changes and still be too strong for Middlesbrough, the way Middlesbrough have played recently. So I'm going to go for 3-1 to Aston Villa. Definitely think Middlesbrough could pull off something, but I wouldn't expect it to happen today. Next up is the final All-Championship game of the day, and it is between bottom of the league Sheffield Wednesday and sort of mid-table-ish Cardiff City. The last 3 times these sides have met, it's resulted in a 2-1 win to Cardiff, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Cardiff. I don't really think I need to say much more than that. The form and the current league position suggest that's the way this game will go. So that is just the way I think it is going to go. And from one Cardiff team from one Welsh team to the other, should I say, from Cardiff City to Swansea City, they're taking on League 2 Morecambe. And again, as with the Cardiff result, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Swansea. That is going to be it for today's video. Let me know all of your thoughts about all the drama that could take place today in this FA Cup third round. Like I say, I've given you all the information that you need to give yourselves the best chance of making your own predictions for today's games. Let me know, like I said, down in the comment section what you think is going to happen. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I'll be back at the same time tomorrow morning with all of those predictions for Sunday and Monday.